Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about October side event or Rifts. And there are obviously two major kind of discussions surrounding this event. And let me be perfectly blunt and objectively clear for those of you who are in a rush. This side event is much more lucrative and better than pretty much any other side event so far this year, even if you have the worst possible luck. Kabam's quite clearly fast-pacing the acquisition of many resources in the light of recent announcements of relics and 7 stars and everything else, and it is noticeable. Not only this is the first ever side event that I can remember that hosts 6-star awakening gem for those select few lucky ones, the rest of the rewards amounts are also increased, even if it's not that easy to spot at the first glance. This is going to be more lucrative side event than pretty much any other side event has been this year, in my opinion. Second point is, it's still Rifts. I'm still always heavily against Rifts. I think it's about time they are retired. On top of it, this is the very worst version of Rift, where there are absolutely no guaranteed determination options on which path you're going to take. So you can't select your path. So it is completely random, and it is quite likely that Kabam's probably going to offer some sort of path selector for units or money at some point during this monthly event, because it would seem stupid not to. They have done similar things in past, but they have always also allowed you to earn some of these path selector or compasses or whatever they are. In this case, it is an extremely RNG filled event, which I am always and will always be categorically against, because these type of side events will be significantly more lucrative to few people than they are going to be for majority of the players, and it's just not something a side event should be built around, in my opinion. We get plenty of RNG in virtually every other aspect of the game when it comes to these monthly constants of monthly event quest, monthly side event. I don't think RNG has any place in the rewards aside from the crystals that you open. So I don't like rifts, even though these are the most lucrative rifts that we have seen ever in the game. I still do not like the fact that they are rifts. I still do not like the fact that this is RNG. I think it's high time Kabam retires this entire idea of rifts and never brings them back again. That being said, let's get to the nitty-gritty bit. The base idea is that every day you're going to get a solo objective. We do not have specific details whether you're going to have to do all of them at once, or you will be able to accumulate many of the solo objectives and then do them in one go. There will be 4 difficulty levels. You will not be able to do all the difficulty levels. It's very important. There are going to be 7 paths with 3 fights and the boss. So 4 fights per path, randomized opponents on final boss node, 1 energy per step, and there's going to be a candy store, which is going to be what you get 90% of the time. A candy from doing these rifts. On the good side, the candy store is quite good. And then paths with awakening gem or the awakening gem crystals are going to be champ gated, so you're going to have to pay attention to what kind of champ gates they have in there. If you cannot pass the rarity gate, you choose any other reward path. Path rewards are refreshed and spots are consumed with every entry. So there's basically no redo or retry. So it's basically the standard rift thing. You do a solo objective, you enter a rift, again, carrying specific champions, ideally, and then you complete the rift, you get the reward, you get a random path assigned to you, so you have no control of what rewards you are getting. So side quest rewards, there are several difficulty levels, but we're going to go on to the highest one. 90% of the time you're going to be getting 20,000 candy, which means that over the course of a month, you can get as much as 700,000 candy, because this is going to be 5-week event. So you need to work around the number of 700,000 in your head. 35 days times 20,000, 700,000. Then you're going to have 2% chance to land on 2 million gold, tier 5 class catalyst, 6-star signature stones plus 5, tier 5 basic catalysts times 2, 6-star hero crystal shards 10,000, and 6-star awakening gem. Keep in mind again that on average you will only land on about 3 of these things that are not candy, more or less. So you on average are probably going to get 2-3 of these kind of like higher rarity items over the course of 35 days. And then the rest of it is going to be the candy. Now, it does sound kind of shit, but the thing is the candy store is kind of jacked. If you are Cavalier Plus, you will have access to all the lower difficulty candy stores, and the lower difficulty candy stores are also quite meaningful because they still offer meaningful amounts of Cavalier crystal shards. So for example, you will be able to purchase in total 40 Cav crystals from this over the course of a month. So every week you're going to be able to get like 10 Cav crystals. And then there are about 10 plus thousand 6-star shards that you can still purchase from it, which again doesn't sound too much because the focus it's not on the 6-star shards necessarily in this side event, but with the amount of Cav crystals and everything else that you can acquire, it is going to be quite decent. You will be able to acquire TFI basic catalyst fragments, 6-star signature stone plus 5, TFI basic catalyst, as well as TFI class catalyst fragments, gold, rest of the stuff. It will amount together for a very meaningful amount of rewards. This is quite important. It is going to be more stuff an average player with the worst luck possible that you will be able to acquire than most of the month you do. That is important message to put aside as well. This store is better than most others that we have had in past. There's, some amounts of gold, some of the other catalysts, so on and so forth. That unfortunately does not excuse the heavy RNG involvement, which is still why I am not a fan of this type of events. There are also going to be solo events that will obviously have its own rewards, where you get more 6-star signature stones, again, a very insignificant amount, and the standard kind of 9,000 tier 3 alpha and 11,000 tier 6 basic catalyst fragments. Obviously, all these special crystals, and this special crystal is actually also quite meaningful. We have Annihilus, Anti-Venom, Apocalypse, Black Panther, Blade, Cable, Captain America Sam Wilson, Captain Britain, Darkhawk, Dr. Voodoo, Dragonman, Gamora, Hulk, Human Torch, Jubilee, Null, Korg, Mr. Negative, Misty Knight, Mysterio, Night Rusher, Purgatory, Red Goblin, Rintra is there, Rocket Raccoon, that's about to get buffed next month, Cersei, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Storm Pyramid X, Tiger, and Vulture. So it is actually one of the strongest crystal pulls that we have seen in a while. There are maybe 4 to 5 kind of like dud champions or fairly below average champions like Hulk and Jubilee and let's say Purgatory. But almost every champion in this crystal pool is at the very least good or insanely good. Like there's Rintra and Tigra, which is absolutely massive. Korg is a huge pull for Battlegrounds defense if you want to. Then there's Mr. Negative, Misty Knight, Mysterio, all are very powerful Battlegrounds champions as well. We have Captain America Sam Wilson, Blade, that is still very rare, 6-star champion. Have Cable, and Apocalypse, and Anti-Venom. So a ton of good champions and a very large amount of Cav crystals is quite noticeable and noteworthy here, because you can pull account changing champs from these crystals and you will have access to quite large quantities of these crystals. Right. Anything else to say about it? I think we have went through pretty much everything that you guys need to know. This side event is going to last 5 weeks. So you're going to have 35 entries. So you will get up to 700,000 candy. You do need to pay attention to what champions you kind of have to bring in. I hope Kabam sends out like 2 or 3-star versions of those champions for free if need be, or that they are more common ones. Even if you don't have those champions, you can still play the rifts. It's just that you will be unable to complete some of the paths or ever be dropped on those paths. And yeah, this is not an awful rift. It really isn't. But it's still a rift. Therefore, I'm still not over the moon about it. Even if I get lucky with it, I still do not support or like or enjoy having rifts in the game. But again, credit where credit is due. This is more rewarding side event than vast majority of the side events that we have had in quite a while, in my personal opinion, even with a bad luck. So let me know what you guys think, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about